We get a lot of questions here in the gym about whether we have a hip thrust machine. And while we don't have an actual machine, there are a bunch of different ways you can set up a hip thrust using the equipment that we do have. So I'm going to kind of talk you through how to do that today. So the first thing that you want to do is find a box or a bench that works best for your setup. Now, when you're doing a hip thrust, you want your hips to start on the floor. So choosing the right height box or bench is going to be a very important first step. So how you can kind of figure that out is to stand next to it, and you want whatever equipment you're using to hit you right about mid-shin, okay? So for me, the best height is going to be this 12-inch box. For someone a little bit taller, the bench might be a better height, but as you can see on me, this comes right up to my knees. So this is going to be too tall for me to use for hip thrusts. We have a bunch of different size boxes. We have the hard ones, we have the soft ones in the back. Typically 12 to 16 inches is going to be the perfect height for most people. Always make sure you secure your weights with a clip so that they're not bouncing all over the place during the movement and scooching off the bar. So the barbell pad is going to go right in the middle of the barbell, and it just kind of slips right on like that. So I'm going to have Lauren sit on the floor in front of the box. You want the base of your shoulder blades to be leaning against the box. I'm going to have you move your hips down a little bit so you're a little bit lower. Perfect. Knees are bent, feet are flat on the ground. You're going to bring them in just a little bit more. A little bit more. Yep. You're going to open so that you're hip width apart with your feet. Yep. Toes pointed slightly out. Okay. So this is the ideal setup position for the start of the hip thrust. As you can see, Lauren's hips are on the ground, her shoulders are back, her head is tucked. If you start too high, like I talked about earlier with the bench, you're going to have to start with your hips off the ground, which is not the optimal position for hip thrusts. So I'll have you straighten your legs out so we can pull the barbell over your legs. This is going to rest right across the hip bones. Yep. And then we'll bend those knees back up, feet are hip width apart, toes pointed slightly out. Okay. Holding onto the bar on either side of that pad, Lauren is going to keep her chin tucked down and push up with those hips as high as she can. Good. And then come right back down, making sure you're hitting the floor every single time so that you get the full range of motion and are really working those glutes, which is what this exercise is meant to do. Some things to be aware of as you're doing this movement: you want to make sure that chin stays tucked, which she's doing, which is beautiful. You want to make sure the ribs don't flare out, so you want to make sure that you're breathing, the ribs stay tucked down, and you're not arching that back as you push the hips up. So all the movement is coming from the glutes, not the hamstrings, not the quads, and not the low back. If you're interested in adding hip thrusts to your exercise routine, but you need a little bit of help or don't know how to get started, definitely ask one of the trainers that we have here on staff.